Hello everyone, welcome back. In previous classes, we have learnt about the access management. Now, here we are going to learn about the design center. In design center is used to design the API. If you want to design the API, then we use the design center. Consider this API development life cycle, and now we are going to start from here. We will move like that. Again we are going to do like that, and we are going to do like that. These all thing we are going to perform. So in this lecture I am going to start the designing of the API. Okay, I am going to design the API. To design the API, we are going to use the design center. In design center we are going to use the API designer. So let's understand some basic details about the design center. Let me go to the design center. If you click on the here design center, you will get like this. Okay, and if you want to create a new API, then you have to click here and click on new API specialization. Later this thing I will going to perform the later, but let me show you something. Okay, let me click on this API that I have created earlier. Okay, 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 let me click on here. Okay, you can see this is basically divided into let me create from the beginning. If I click on create a new API, and you can write here the any name like that, my API, I have written like that here. And if I click on I am comfortable to design its own and just click on create API, it will create a API interface for you. This area is divided into 4 parts. First part is this area, second part is this area, and third part is this area, and the fourth part is this area. Now talking about the what is this area. First area is to maintain the folders. Here we can create the new folder, create the new files. These all thing is going to maintain this area. This is called the editor area, where we are going to write the API in the RAML language. In the RAML language we are going to, if you don't know RAML, don't worry, it is very easy. I am going to explain in detail, so you don't need to read you don't need to extra knowledge to learn this. Okay, now this area we are going to write the RAML for creating API. This area is, while writing this RAML, it will give you auto suggestion. So that area is very important. You will get the auto suggestion. Now coming to this area is called the API console, and we use the mocking service to test the API. Whatever the API we have created, we can test here. We can see the documentation. These all things we can see here. So this is the 4 area. In upcoming classes we are going to deal with these all 4 area, and we are going to create a new API as per the requirement. Okay, now let's go ahead with the understanding. Okay, so we can create the API using design center, that is fine. Let's understand the API requirement came to us. Suppose we have a requirement came, and there is let's understand that you are a HR or manager of your company, and you have the employee that is working under you, as a annual rating, you have to give the rating to employee, whether employee has A band or B band or C band or D band. These all band you have to give to your employee as a HR or manager. There will be a 4 case possible with that. Case 1, you are going to check the whether what was the employee last year rating. Maybe you can judge with that one, that previous year, what you can try to understand what was employee last year rating. Now also you are going to check whether the employee is new hire or not, because if it is a new hire, you are not going to get in database. Or maybe the possibility that the employee has left the organization. So again, if employee has left the organization, again you are not going to get detail in database. For that, we are going to perform, while creating the API, we are going to perform the get operation to get the detail from the database. There is a database where all employee detail is going to maintain, and HR manager, while rating, they will perform the action get operation to get the detail of the employee last year rating. And if employee do not exist, then there will be a possibility that the employee is a new hire who has recently joined or did not get any rating, or employee left the organization. That will be possible. Okay, so sorry, that thing I have written mistakenly. Let me, this will exist in database, but okay, but do not need to give rating. Okay, so let me go through it. Okay, so if employee has left the organization, then we have to check. Case 2, let's take example, if employee is the new hire, then we are going to insert a new column because he is new and he is not available in database. Then we are going to post call to insert into a database. Again, let's take example, there was a employee in database, but somehow employee had left the organization, so we do not give to rating to that employee, and in future we want that employee to be not present in database. So we are going to delete this employee from database. So we are going to perform delete operation. Again, let's take example, there is an employee that is already existing. Then in that case, what we are going to do, we are going to give the rating, but before that we are going to check the what was the employee last year rating. Okay, so these are the 4 possible case I have assumed, and on that case we are going to create the API and we are going to test the API. So in summary, if I say, as a HR manager, you are giving rating to your employee as a annual rating, and there will be a case that employee has left the organization, so we are going to delete the employee detail from database. There will be a possibility that employee is a new hire that is not present in database, so we are going to insert the new column in our database, new row in database, sorry. And if the employee is existing, we are going to update the detail with the new rating. Okay, and in between we need the get operation to check the whether the employee, what was the employee last year hiring, last year rating, and what the employee new hire or not, and whether the employee left donation or not. These all things we need to check. Now these are the API components. If you are talking about the API, REST API URL, that is like that, https dot dot slash, and the host name, that currently I am working on the local host, so it will be a local host, and dot dot port number slash, that is the employee, and slash detail. This can be a base URI or can be a resource. It is depending up to you how basically you want to write into a RAML language. Okay, the method we can perform like that: get to get detail, post to post, and the put to update, and delete to delete. The input can be the input that we receive in the as a request from the API. That can be either be a header or it can be a whole payload, that is a body. Content type can be a JSON, can be a XML, and response we can get a 200, 400 and 500 is all response we can get as a response code. Again, in response we can get as a response as a JSON or XML. These all things we are going to see in detail. Okay, let's understand this thing in using the this postman. But before that, I want to explain one more thing to you. Let's understand the RAML structure, how it is going to look. When we are going to create the RAML here, then how basically it is going to look and what are the component that I am going to show you here. Okay, and let's understand this. This is the RAML structure that I have showing here. Let me show you in the bigger. Okay, this will be a going RAML structure. This before that is a request, and before after the dot this is a response. Okay, in request that is till title it will came as a by default. After that we are going to keep a base URI. But what is base URI? These all things let's understand before that. Okay, if you open the postman, okay, and let me take the URL. Okay, let me take the URL from here. Okay, okay, and let me write here. Okay, okay, let's understand this thing till here. Okay, 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 let's understand this URL. This URL till here it is called as a base URI. Base URI means it is the base of the URL. After that we are going to what we are going to write here, that is a resource on which we are going to perform some action. Okay, so this URL divided into two parts. First part is called the base URI, that is the base for the all the resource, and after that is called the resource. Then again this is going to be a method, which method we are going to perform, that is the get method, post method, post patch method. Okay, these all method we are going to see here. After that, what should be the XM body? If you are including the header, what should be the header we are going to include? If should be a body, then what should be the body we are going to inform? And what should be the message format, whether XML or JSON, which we are going to perform, that we are going to return right here. Okay, again after that this is the example we are going to take, because as a this is creating a RAML, so we need to take example, so we can take this example. While creating the response, you can see there is a coming response code as a 400 that is not found. That response code we are going to take. Under that we have the body. Under body we have the this as a response. Okay, under we can see that will be a text. Currently it can be a JSON. It can be a JSON, so we can take, we are going to take a JSON, and these are going to perform. So let me explain this thing structure from the here. Okay, let's understand this. First it is going to be a RAML. After that it is a title that is coming by default. You can see here it is coming by default title. Okay, now after title we have the base URI. So base URI till the employee, that is you can see here we are going to first write here as a base URI. Okay, while creating, after base URI we are going to include the resource. Slash detail is the resource, so we are going to include slash detail. Okay, after that we are going to mention the method, which method we are going to call. So we are going to call the get method, so I have written here the get method. If any query parameter or header, if you want to mention right here, you can write here. You can any query parameter you want to, parameters you want to pass, header pass, that you can write here. And I am going to simple write the query parameters. And what is the query parameter? The query parameter is the employee ID. So I am writing here the employee ID. And what should be type, that is the type is the string, and it is whether it is required or not, so it is required. And if it is true, then it is required, it should be come as a load payload. And if and what any example you can write. Okay, Now that is thing. Again, after that, let me take another example to show you this. Take this one. Okay, okay, let me go to the one. Okay, consider this one. Okay, post one. Okay, okay. After that, what I am doing, first I have written the met resource already written, base you are written. After base where we are writing details, under details we are writing the method. After method we have the body. You can see we have the body head. If you header is require present, then you can write the header parameters. We have the body, so we have written here the body. After body, that is the content type, whether the JSON or which content. If it currently it is JSON, so we are going to write as a application JSON. If it is XML, we are going to write as a XML JSON. Now after that, type we are going to mention type of this. It is, you can say it is the object, so we are going to mention it is a type as a object. Under that, the properties of the payload we are going to write here. The properties, employee ID, that we, you can see it all four are present: employee ID, employee name, and rating, and these all here four. So we are going to mention for each one. Employee ID type will be string, and it is required or not, it is required, and of course example I have written here. Okay, similarly again employee ID string, and it is required, and employee ID I have written here. Similarly employee rating, that is written A, and it is required. These all thing I have mentioned here. And year should be integer, and it should be a required, and of course example I have written here. After that we have to mention here the example, that is the, we have to mention this is a example, so we have to mention add a example. So I have mentioned as a example. So what should be our sequence of order? Let me explain you in again. Our sequence will be like that. First it will be a base URI. After that it is going to be a resource. After that we are going to be give the method. After method we are going to include the content type, that is a JSON or XML, that is a application.json or a application.xml. Once content type is done, then we are going to include the payload type. Payload type is an object. Of course this is an object. If this will be array, we are going to write the array, but currently this is object, so I am going to write it object. Okay, now we are going, after that we are going to include the properties of the payload. In properties we are going to mention each properties like that. You can see employee ID, employer name, and these all property. Also it is called as a data type, because we are including which data type it is present. So we are going to also call it a data type. Again at last we are going to include this example, so that we can get in response while requesting, we will request this same example. Okay, while testing the mocking service, we are going to use this example. Okay, now coming to the response section. Again we are, while creating the response, we have the, you can see we have the response code, that is currently here it is 400. We have written here 400. Again after that it will be a under the body, so you can see under the body, you can see under body we have the message format as a JSON, so we can see it is a JSON body. Under body with having the JSON application JSON. Again this, it is going to be a coming as a, if it is coming a text, we can write text, but it is coming as a JSON, then we have to write as a application.json. And again type is a object, and we have to include the properties. If currently the property is employee status, and right here, and example mention here. Okay, so this is going to be a same format. Let me again brief you what should be like that. If you go to here, you can see here that will be a, first it will be a base URI. After that we are going to include the resource. Again which method we are calling, if any header query parameter there, we are going to write header and query parameter. After that we are going to include the body, then content type, that is a XML application.xml or application JSON. Type of content, that is the object or array, or properties of content, that is the data type that we are going to mention here. And at last example that we are going to write here. Similarly creating the response, let me go here. Okay. Okay. Similarly, while creating the response, again we are going to write the response, and the response code had a 200, and the a post body. After body we having the response type. Okay, the response type, that is your object, or it can be array, that is depending, and the type of response, that is a post. Okay, now properties, we are going to write the properties, and again example, that this format we are going to follow in the while creating the REST API using the RAML. So in upcoming classes I am going to create the API using the RAML. Okay, now you have to remember this structure. If you are remembering this structure, how then it will be easy for you to create. Okay, now this is all about the basic introduction. Now in upcoming classes I am going to follow this structure, and I am going to create a REST API, and I am going to test the REST API. So for now, let's meet in the next class, and hope you have enjoyed it. Again, if you have doubt, again you can comment me, send me mail. Thank you all. Please subscribe to channel if you have not subscribed.